Hope is a journey. You hope to do something, to working your way to it, failing and succeeding and failing.
To me, hope is wanting a better future for yourself or a better future for the world.
I hope I get through everything on my own. Let's just say I hope I have a better interest in things when I get out there in the world. That's what hope means to me.
My biggest thing right now is hoping that my sibling knows I still love them and I'm not trying to be mean. I told my siblings that I don't really want to talk about his problems because I'm still working on mine. I just hope he knows the reason I'm on him is because I have people that will help me get through it.
Hope, I think it means having a future, knowing you can get better. When you have hope, it makes everything easier because you feel encouraged to move forward when you have hope. You know that there's a chance you can get out of this if you try.
What hope means to me is seeing my family.
One thing to keep in mind is every action has a consequence, whether it's good or bad, so I keep that in mind whenever I'm deciding to do something.
You gotta work harder to have what you want.
Miss Tasia, she holds me accountable, which was something I really struggled with a lot, but she's also doing it in a way that shows she cares. After everything I've been through, I'm still human. People see that I'm trying.
Who inspires to me is Miss Cece. She says we can do a lot. She respects our boundaries, and when we're sad, she cheers us up.
We wouldn't know about any of my diagnosis without Maryhurst. We just wouldn't know. I'm glad we found this place and that I got all the help I needed.
Hi everybody, good afternoon and welcome to Maryhurst's 34th annual Journey of Hope Luncheon. I've seen lots of you up and down and giving hugs and handshakes and meeting and greeting, and we love that, but we hope that you can get comfortable, sit still for a little bit and listen to the great stories and information that we have for you today. We're so grateful that you're here, and as you settle in and enjoy your lunch, take a moment to look around this room. Every person here represents a shared commitment to supporting children, families, and stronger communities across Kentucky. My name is Alex Durham. I am a morning news anchor for WLKY, so if you've been up with me today, we're still kicking and we're on our fourth coffee, but that's okay. We're here for a good reason, and I'm so excited. WLKY is proud to once again support Maryhurst and the extraordinary work happening every day through its programs and services. Throughout the year, WLKY has the privilege of helping share the stories behind Maryhurst's mission, from highlighting gift drives and community initiatives to spotlighting the life-changing impact Maryhurst has on kids and families across our region. And through efforts like our Project Community and Wednesday's Child, these are stories that and causes that deeply resonate with our station and the people who work there, and me personally. So we're proud to help elevate the voices, experiences, and hope that organizations like Maryhurst bring to our community every single day. And before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the support provided by all of today's sponsors, including our champion sponsors, Churchill Downs and the LG&E and KU Foundation. This level of generosity and support makes events like this possible and helps advance the mission of Maryhurst throughout our community and across Kentucky. And before we continue, we would also like to recognize the Sisters of the Good Shepherd, who are sponsors of today's event and whose compassion, vision, and commitment laid the foundation for Maryhurst's mission more than 180 years ago. Their legacy of caring for children and families continues to guide this work today, and we're grateful to have several sisters joining us as guests this afternoon. Yeah, why not? Let's keep the applause going. This year's theme, Building Strong Foundations, it reflects something that we will hear throughout today's program. Every child deserves a strong foundation built on safety, stability, compassion, and opportunity. And every young person deserves someone who believes in them, supports them, and helps them see a future filled with possibility. And at Maryhurst, those foundations are built every day through relationships, care, and community. Because when children and families are given the right support at the right time, lives can truly change. And today you will hear powerful stories of resilience, hope, and transformation that remind us all of why this work matters so deeply. So thank you again for being here and part of this important mission. And now I invite you to turn your attention to the screens for a special message.
For children and families facing abuse, neglect, and trauma, the path forward is not always clear. That's where Maryhurst comes in. For more than 180 years, Maryhurst has been providing care, treatment, and support to those who need it most. Based in Louisville, Maryhurst is Kentucky's oldest child welfare nonprofit, serving children, youth, and families across the region. Our work is centered on one goal: helping youth and families heal, grow, and move forward to a more stable future. At the core of our campus is the intensive residential program. This is where young people who cannot safely remain at home come to live, often after experiencing significant trauma. In a structured, supportive environment, they receive 24-hour care from trained staff, along with access to therapy, education, and life skills development. Here, the focus is on stabilization, healing, and helping each young person build the tools they need to move forward. Maryhurst's work also extends beyond our campus through programs like Renewal. Renewal is a community-based model that works directly with children and families in their own environments, including schools and neighborhoods. Instead of waiting for a crisis, this approach focuses on early intervention, helping families navigate challenges, build strong relationships, and prevent situations from escalating. Together, these programs are part of a broader continuum of care that supports individuals at different points in their journey. From intensive residential treatment to community-based services, Maryhurst is able to meet people where they are and provide the level of care they need. Each year, Maryhurst serves thousands of children and families across Kentucky. Through this work, young people are able to stay in school, strengthen relationships, and move toward greater independence. For generations, Maryhurst has been a place where care, treatment, and support come together to create meaningful change. And that work continues every day across our campus and throughout the community. This is Maryhurst, and this is where hope begins.
Good afternoon. I'm Paula Garner, and I have the honor of leading Maryhurst as President and CEO. And I want to welcome you all to the 34th Annual Journey of Hope Luncheon. Thank you for being here and for choosing to stand with Maryhurst and the children and families that we serve. Before I begin, I want to take a moment to recognize some important partners here in the room today. We are grateful to have elected officials and community leaders with us who help make this work possible all across our state. If you are a representative from state or local government or a public agency, would you please stand so that we can recognize you? Wonderful. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to Kentucky's children and families. Now I want to take a few minutes to talk about what brings us here today. We are here to talk about what happens when a child grows up without a strong foundation and what we are doing to change that. Across Kentucky, more than 14 out of every 1,000 children will experience abuse and neglect, and that is nearly twice the national average. In fact, more than 8,800 children across our state are living outside of their homes, navigating foster care with great uncertainty. And while we have made progress over time, the needs of children and families has not gone away. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's become more complex. But behind every one of these numbers is a child. Children who are navigating trauma, instability, and uncertainty at an age when they should be feeling safe and supported. At Maryhurst, we see this reality every single day. In our residential programs, we serve young people from across the state. They come to us from all corners of the state because we are one of the few organizations equipped to meet their specialized treatment needs. And in many cases, when they come to us, they have exhausted all other options. So when they arrive, they are not coming to us at the beginning of their journey. Many of the young people we serve have moved from place to place, often many times across many family members, foster homes, treatment settings, and temporary placements. And with every move, there is a loss. Another relationship that is interrupted, another reason to stop trusting. By the time many of these young people come to us, they have learned something that no child should ever have to learn: survival. And we know that kind of trauma doesn't go away on its own. In fact, youth who experience repeated trauma are far more likely to face challenges with mental health, with addiction, and with long-term health outcomes. Without the right support, those patterns don't stop, they continue. And that is how cycles of instability are created. I'm thinking of a young woman who came to us not that long ago, and she had been moved again and again in just a few short years. And every time she started to settle in somewhere, she was told she was gonna have to leave. So when she arrived at Maryhurst, she didn't unpack her bag. She kept it by the door because in her mind, she wasn't really gonna be staying with us for very long. That's what uncertainty does to a child. It teaches them not to trust, not to settle, not to believe that anything will last. But something different happened with us. Our team kept showing up day after day, no matter how hard it was, no matter how long it took. And eventually, she unpacked that bag. And that might seem like a small moment, but it's not. It's a moment a young person begins to believe that they might actually be safe. And that's what building a strong foundation looks like. That is the work of our intensive residential treatment services, where we care for young people who are experiencing the highest level of need. Young people who've experienced deep trauma, repeated loss, and tremendous instability. And they need more than a placement. They need specialized treatment, they need consistency and structure. Most of all, they need adults who understand that healing takes time and that behavior is often the language of pain. And I want to pause for a moment and recognize those adults. They show up every single day, even when it's hard, when progress is slow, and when the needs seem overwhelming. To our staff in all of our programs who are here today, and we have some former staff as well, so I'm going to extend this to them as well. Thank you. You are the reason that this work is possible. I'd like to share a quote about our staff that came directly from one of our community members. It says, "I am grateful for the people that dedicate their lives to this work. You are changing lives and saving lives." But our work does not begin when a young person arrives at one of our campuses, and it does not end there. While fixing a failing foundation is important, whenever possible, we would rather build a strong foundation from the start. Just like you saw in the video earlier, our work expands beyond our campuses into our community. Through our renewal program, We are reaching children and families earlier in schools, in homes, and in neighborhoods. And that work is only possible because of strong partnerships across our community. Organizations like Goodwill, YMCA, Neighborhood House, and Clark County Schools in Indiana, as well as so many other partners who work alongside us every day. We are reminded why this work matters, especially through the voices of our partners. And one participant said recently in a survey, Maryhurst Renewal is filling a critical gap in our community. Many of the families we serve face real barriers. Having Maryhurst Renewal embedded in our space helps break down those barriers. Families don't have to go somewhere new or unfamiliar. The support comes to them in a place that they already trust. This work does not happen in isolation. It happens because of collaboration. Because when community partners work together to meet families where they are, the outcomes can be better and the path can be different. The foundation is stronger from the start, and we begin to change the trajectory, not just for one child, but for families and entire communities. Before I go further, I want to highlight some of the things that we have accomplished together this year, because this work is not theoretical. It is happening every single day, and these wins matter, and they shape how we show up for our community. Since our last luncheon, our residential programs have supported 128 youth from 53 counties, and more than 90% of those youth who complete treatment go back home or to a home-like setting. And we have seen 8 young folks graduate from Maryhurst Academy, including 2 graduates this week. So we want to congratulate our graduates. In our renewal programs, we've served 473 children and families across 17 local counties. We've also worked with nearly 2,000 community members through our Community Mental Health Project, which we operate in partnership with Louisville Metro Government's Office for Violence Prevention. As a result of this work, we have seen families stabilize. We have seen children begin to believe in themselves. And those are real lives changed. However, in the reality that we are navigating, the needs continue to grow and the environment is constantly changing. On average, children in foster care spend nearly 2 years navigating the uncertainty of multiple moves and never staying long enough to completely feel safe. And at the same time, organizations like Maryhurst are being asked to do more than ever before. More children to serve, more families to support, with more complexity in every situation. Our costs are rising, while funding and support at the state and local levels is becoming less predictable and more competitive. Despite this, at Maryhurst, we continue to show up to meet that moment because the need does not wait. It actually becomes more urgent. Because for young people and families who come to Maryhurst, this is not abstract. Please hear me say that this is their one life. This is their one future. And this is their chance to heal. So Maryhurst remains a strong and steady place of care. A place where a young person can rebuild what has been lost. A place where families can find support when they feel overwhelmed. A place where people come together to create real solutions. But we cannot do this work alone. And that is why your presence here today matters so much, and it does, it matters. This kind of healing requires a community that is willing to invest in prevention, people who are willing to advocate for families before they fall through the cracks. Because when we do that, we do more than meet an immediate need. We change generational trajectories, and we build something for our future. And that is the work that I am inviting you into today. Because when a child walks through our doors, we have to be ready. We have to be ready to care for them. We have to be ready to support them, ready to help them build a lasting foundation, something that they may have never had before. And throughout our 183-year history, that has only happened with the help of people like you. So today is not just about awareness. It is also about responsibility. And it is about recognizing that every child deserves a strong foundation and deciding how you will help us build it. I want to close by thanking you each again for being with us today, for believing in our young people and our families, and being a part of our journey of hope.
Thank you so much, Paula. I think we can all agree here, it not only takes all of you, but it takes an incredible leader like we just heard from now. Well, one of the many ways that Maryhurst helps build strong foundations is by investing in the future of young people, not only during their time in care, but long after they leave the program. For more than 40 years, Maryhurst Dream Pursuit Awards have helped hundreds and hundreds of students and young adults continue their education, pursue career goals, and build brighter futures for themselves and their families. And because of the generosity of dedicated donors and community supporters, 16 young people have gotten educational and career support through efforts this year. A little over $80,000 has been awarded to support the dreams and goals of Maryhurst youth and alumni. So in your program, you'll find a full list of this year's scholarship awards and recipients. We are deeply grateful to every individual and family who continues to invest in this program and believe in what is possible for generations to come. And at this time, we would like to recognize the scholarship and Dream Pursuit recipients who are with us today and the benefactors who have contributed to this fund as well. So please stand, if you will, if you're not in the middle of a bite. We want to celebrate you and say thank you and congratulations. Go ahead, don't be shy. There we go. Congratulations to each of you. Your hard work, perseverance, and determination inspire all of us. And one of those recipients that we just recognized is also going to be joining us on stage today. We're talking about Taylor Kays. Her story reflects this year's theme, building strong foundations in a deeply personal way. From a very young age, Taylor's life was shaped by instability, trauma, loss, and circumstances that no child should ever have to carry alone. Without a strong foundation of safety, support, and consistency, her future was being built on uncertainty. But at Maryhurst, something started to shift. Through the care of trusted adults, structure, accountability, and compassion, Taylor was given the foundation she had never truly had before, one that allowed her to start rebuilding her confidence, reframing her future, and believing that a different life was possible. Over time, that foundation became the framework for something stronger: stability, healing, family, purpose, and a place to call home. Before Taylor comes up here and talks to us in person, we want you to hear more about her remarkable journey.
My social worker called me. I was at a facility in Elizabethtown, and she was like, "Taylor, I have to come get you, and I don't have anywhere else to put you. You've been kicked out of program after program after program." Essentially, Maryhurst was like the last stop. That was the last hope. And my social worker was crying, and she was like, "Taylor, you have to make it out of here." And to see my social worker, someone who didn't even know me, be so impacted, I was like, wow, like I gotta do something with my life. My name's Taylor Kays. I'm a realtor. I went to Maryhurst from 14 to 19 years old. I learned a lot about myself and about others and about relationships. I really do think that Maryhurst did save my life. I can't even really identify with the little girl that I was anymore, and they gave me the tools, and so now I'm using her for good and not evil, and it works out. Everything's different once you become a mom. Some of those programs in my head have come out of my toolkit, and I've had to use those to be able to give Xander a more healed version of myself than kind of what I had. I got pregnant with my baby while I also had Xander. It was a really cool moment to know, like, okay, I get to be able to have a baby now and change the trajectory of these generational curses that I was once born in. Everything that my story has pieced together from Maryhurst and everything, that is hope. Because I'm giving hope to my brother. He's given hope to me, seeing him fight. I'm giving hope to all these new homeowners and changing their lives. I get to pour into them everything that I've never had, and I never really thought that I could be able to do that. For Maryhurst, keep on showing up for me. It was able to do a ripple effect for so many other people in their lives too. By the time I was 12 years old, I had 4 felonies, 13 misdemeanors, 2 assault charges, and a public intoxication. At 12, not because I was a bad kid, but because I was a kid trying to survive a life I did not understand. Sorry, y'all. It's emotional. It's growth. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. Yes, ma'am. Okay, let's get back into it. My name is Taylor Case, and for a long time, I didn't think I would live long enough to have a story worth telling. So thank you all for being here and allowing me to share it today. Before I ever had the chance to choose who I wanted to be, life had already made a lot of choices for me. My mom was 17 whenever she got pregnant with me. While she was carrying me, my father was shot and killed. I grew up in a home shaped by addiction, and addiction doesn't just affect one person, it fills the room. It changes the stability. It changes what a child believes is normal. There were days I felt invisible, even whenever I wasn't alone. And whenever you grow up like that, you don't learn how to express your emotions. You learn how to survive them. So I became angry. I didn't have the words for I'm hurt. I didn't have the tools for I feel abandoned. So instead, I yelled, I fought, I pushed people away. By 12, I was in the court system. Every Monday, same courtroom. And I remember thinking, how did I get here? But no one ever stopped long enough to ask why. I wasn't a bad kid. I was a kid trying to figure out life on my own. One day in court, my mom said she couldn't do it anymore. She signed her rights over to the state, and I didn't even cry. Because whenever you've been hurt enough, you learn how to shut that part of yourself off. So instead, I pushed harder. I acted worse, because if I could make people give up on me first, I didn't have to feel them leave. Whenever I got to Maryhurst, I didn't walk in hopeful. Juvenile detention was a revolving door. I was in and out there about 5 times, along with unsuccessful stays at 2 other facilities. So, because of all my prior placements and instability, I walked into those campus doors calculating. I had a plan, say the right things, do the right things, get out. But something happened there that I didn't expect. People didn't give up on me, even whenever I pushed them. I pushed a lot. They stayed. I remember one moment, I just had a terrible day. I was angry, loud, completely out of control, and I was waiting. I was waiting to be punished, waiting to be told everything that I did wrong. Instead, a staff member sat next to me and asked, "Are you okay?" No one had really ever asked me that before. And in that moment, something shifted. For the first time, I realized I wasn't a problem to fix. I was a person worth understanding. And it wasn't just that one moment. There were staff at Maryhurst who kept showing up for me again and again. People who saw past my behavior and chose to see me. Who stayed patient with me even whenever I pushed them away. In fact, a couple of those former staff members are here today. If you're comfortable, would you please stand? Bonner and Rachel, I'm talking about you. Yes, Alexis, my therapist, you definitely need a shout out. Excuse me. You both helped me build a strong foundation, one I can continue to strengthen. It changed how I saw myself. It changed what I believed was possible. And it's a big part of why I came back and worked as a direct care worker myself at Maryhurst, because I wanted to be that person for someone else. Maryhurst didn't just give me a place to stay. They gave me tools to understand my emotions, tools to pause before reacting, tools to build structure, stability, and trust, tools to change the direction of my life. And once you have those tools, they stay with you. I still lean on that toolkit every single day, especially as a parent to my younger brother, Xander, who I adopted. I've learned the importance of patience, of creating structure so he feels safe, of teaching him what's right and what's wrong, what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, and how to use his voice and advocate for himself. Whether it's at school, in the hospital, or simply helping other adults understand how to better support him, those lessons matter. And now, as a mother to my own son, I know those same lessons and values will continue for another generation. Because the first time in my life, I understood what it means to build a strong foundation for someone else. Today, I'm a realtor, and I don't just sell homes. I help people find something that I didn't have growing up. Stability, safety, and a place where they can breathe. I'm also a mom, and I get to give my child something that I had to learn the hard way: love, consistency, protection. And whenever my little brother was born, I made a decision that the cycle stops with me. There were girls at Maryhurst with me who aren't here today. And I know that that could have been me, but it wasn't. Because someone believed in me whenever I didn't believe in myself. So whenever you support Maryhurst, you're not just giving to another program. You're stepping into someone's story, right at the moment, whenever it could go either direction. You're helping guide it to a positive path. There are kids right now living at the same Maryhurst campus I was at for 2 years who deserve that same chance that I was given. Thank you.
Let's keep it going for her. Soak this in. Taylor, thank you so much from all of us. Thank you for sharing your story. It's so powerful. You're incredible. Your 2 boys are extremely lucky. Yes, you running across the front right now. The cutest. Keep running. It's okay. Truly, Taylor, it's such a powerful reminder of what can happen when someone is given that support, that stability, and the opportunity to build a stronger future. That's why we're all here today. It also reminds us of something else, the lasting impact a community can have on a young person's life and the importance of continuing to invest in the places and the people who help shape us. Our keynote speaker today embodies just that spirit. While Laurie Schalow now serves on the executive leadership team of one of the world's most recognized brands, her roots remain deeply connected to Louisville and to organizations like Maryhurst that are working every day to strengthen our community. Laurie previously served on the Maryhurst Board of Directors for 9 years and has remained a dedicated supporter of the organization and its mission. Even while leading at the national level, she has continued to stay connected to Louisville and invest in the community that helped shape her own journey. Today, Laurie serves as Chief Corporate Affairs and Food Safety Officer for Chipotle Mexican Grill, where she oversees communications, stakeholder engagement, sustainability, food safety, and customer experience for more than 4,000 restaurants across the U.S., Canada, Middle East, and Europe. She also serves as the president of the Chipotle Cultivate Foundation and has been nationally recognized for her leadership and impact across corporate communications, public affairs, and purpose-driven engagement. Now, prior to joining Chipotle, Laurie spent many years with Yum Brands, helping lead global public affairs and corporate social responsibility initiatives for KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell locations, all of those around the world. But beyond her professional accomplishments, Laurie understands the importance of giving back, staying connected, and helping create opportunities for future generations to thrive no matter where life takes you. So please join me in welcoming this year's Journey of Hope keynote speaker, Laurie Schalow.
Okay, I was wondering if I was going to make it through my speech without crying, so Taylor, you had me crying even before I started. But hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. Maryhurst holds such a special place in my heart, and I'm really honored and humbled to share my experience with all of you today. I remember when I was first introduced to Maryhurst back in 2008. I had just been relocated here with Yum Brands. I was working for Taco Bell and was transferred here from California. I was always very passionate about working with community and with women and children in particular. And at the time, I had 2 children under 2. I had a husband who traveled a lot, and I had a busy job of my own, so I put that on hold for a little bit. But however, my friend here and my former Maryhurst board member, Tony Clem, knew about my passion. And when I said I was ready to get engaged in the community here, she said, "I know just the place for you." And she was right. So she invited me to a lunch and learn. Judy will remember this. Judy was our CEO at the time, and I was able to come to campus and take a tour. And on the tour, I remember walking through the campus and seeing the girls. They were going to school, they were cooking together, they were playing basketball in the gym, and they were laughing like they were longtime friends. And if you didn't know it and know the journey or the story of how they ended up there, you would have just thought they were typical girls in middle school or high school in the suburbs here in Louisville. But as Taylor just shared with you, that couldn't be further from the truth. I vividly remember on that tour watching a video with Diane Sawyer, learning about a little girl named Summer. She was 13 years old. She was so physically, mentally, and emotionally abused that it brought tears to my eyes, still to think about her today. And as a mother of 2 small children at the time, I remember just thinking I couldn't imagine how a mother would allow her child to be so abused and neglected like that. And it just was shocking. So I knew from that day forward that I needed to be involved with Maryhurst and see what small impact I could make. So I'll make a quick public service announcement that if you haven't been to Maryhurst, to the campus, if you don't know a whole lot about it, I encourage you to just sign up for a lunch and learn on the website. It's still on there. I checked it out. And just go visit and see how you can get involved. There's plenty of opportunities. I promise you won't regret it. So over the next 10 years, I served on the board of directors, I chaired committees, and ultimately, I was the chairman of the board before I moved. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. It was not always easy conversations that we had for the board, and I know there's a lot of board members here today. I remember meetings where we weren't sure if we were going to make payroll that week, wondering if we were able to accept any new girls coming in who desperately needed our help, and always discussing the need for more state funding and how we were going to lobby to get more money to treat these children who had failed out of a system that had failed them year after year. But the most challenging board meetings were when the staff present were either silently pulled away or had to leave abruptly because a girl was in trouble and needed help. I remember we'd pause for a moment, put our heads down, and just hope that everything would be okay. And while there certainly were tough days at Maryhurst, there were a lot of happy ones too. I remember the graduation ceremonies where the girls would receive their diplomas. There were proms, there were sporting competitions. They would shop in the boutique and so much more. So many great happy memories as well. And over the years, as my daughters were growing up, I started to expose them to Maryhurst. And as a family, we would attend events at Maryhurst and interact with the girls, which I really enjoyed seeing. And I remember the teddy bear exchange, which was one of my girls' favorites that we would try to attend every year. We also began an annual tradition by adopting girls through the Maryhurst Adopt a holiday gift drive. And we would always make sure that we went shopping every year just for those girls, because it was important to us to know that the girls at Maryhurst may have woke up Christmas morning, didn't have family there, and we wanted to make sure that our adopted girls knew that someone cared enough for them to make sure that they had at least a joyful morning that Christmas day. And my daughters also enjoyed attending the holiday board dinner, and I may have dragged them up on stage a few times to sing the Christmas caroling that our board had to do, so if you know, you know, but it was a lot of fun. But anyway, my point is that Maryhurst also gave me the opportunity to share with my children and my family the importance of giving back to communities where we live and work, and to always, always be thankful for our blessings in life. Because not everyone is as fortunate as we are and has a safe place to go home to and live in a house without abuse or neglect. And even after I left Louisville in 2017 to join Chipotle and move to Denver, and then back to Southern California where I live now, I've always stayed connected to Maryhurst because, as I always say, Maryhurst has my heart. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you today, I was thinking about how, in an odd way, the girls who walk into Maryhurst are some of the most lucky and unlucky girls that you'll ever meet. The trauma and torture that they have sustained in their short lives is both unimaginable and truly unacceptable. Yet they're the lucky ones because they were fortunate enough that Maryhurst had a bed available when they needed it most, where they would be cared for, loved, and treated with dignity and respect. The staff at Maryhurst would teach them that what they experienced was not the only path in life and that they could break the pattern. It's the experience that Taylor just talked about. Taylor and countless other girls like her just needed someone to ask them if they were okay and ask them what they needed and how they could help them. I'm afraid to imagine what would have happened to Taylor if she didn't show up at Maryhurst that day. Glad you're here. Speaking of the staff, before I close, I want to say a few words directly to the Maryhurst team, both past and present. Because you are the ones who show up every day for the girls who are scared, angry, hurt, and often convinced that the whole world had given up on them. You are yelled at, you are pushed away, you are tested in ways that most of us can't even imagine, and yet still you stay. You stay long enough for trust to begin, long enough for healing to begin, long enough for a young, broken girl who has only known trauma to finally feel safe. That kind of work changes lives, and that's what Maryhurst is doing. Maryhurst is so much more than a campus or a program or a building that we all know that's out on Dorsey Lane. It is a place where girls learn that what happened to them does not have to define who they will become. It's a place where they're treated with compassion, with patience, with empathy, and with hope. It is where they begin their own journey of hope. And to everyone in this room, the healing only happens because of people like you who care. Because as much as I would like to eliminate the need for Maryhurst altogether, we all know that's not going to happen. And in fact, the reality is in the next few hours or days, or maybe even while we're here having lunch today, a young girl is going to show up at Maryhurst literally carrying nothing but fear, trauma, and heartbreak that no child should have to endure. And because Maryhurst exists, and because of people like you who care enough and are willing to help, this young girl will be met with safety, with support, and surrounded by people who will refuse to give up on her. So she will finally have a chance to heal. She will find her hope. That is the power of Maryhurst. That is the impact of every staff member, every donor, every volunteer, and advocate in this room. And that is why, no matter where life takes me, Maryhurst will always have my heart. Thank you. I got through it mostly without crying. So good.
You did. Laurie, thank you so much. That was incredible. Your words today, they were so incredible, so powerful, and we are grateful for your leadership, your dedication to our mission, and your continued connection to Maryhurst, no matter where you go and where you find yourself. You are just one of those shining examples of what it means to show up. Thank you. Can we thank Laurie one more time, everybody? Good afternoon. My name is Derek Selznick, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the Chief Community Officer at Maryhurst. Thank you for joining us today. You've heard something clearly from Paula, from Taylor, from Laurie. Strong foundations change lives. When a child experiences stability, trust, and support, and the chance to feel safe, the trajectory of their future changes. That safety is a tremendous gift that we get to give them. And that work only happens because a community chooses to do it.
And earlier today, Paula shared that more than 8,800 children across Kentucky are currently living outside of their homes. At the same time, Maryhurst continues showing up every day for children and families across the Commonwealth through residential treatment, community-based services, mental health support, and prevention programs. That impact is real. And it only happens because people choose to care.
I want to take a moment to recognize some of the people that already build those strong foundations daily. First, to our Maryhurst staff. You are the steady presence that are helping young people to heal, to grow, and to believe in themselves. And you do it day in, day out, over and over and over again. If you are a member of the Maryhurst team, can you please stand? No. Keep standing up. We're not done, everybody. To our board and our associate board, thank you for your leadership and your commitment to our mission. Will you please stand to be recognized alongside our staff? And finally, to our volunteers and our community partners, thank you for continuing to show up to Maryhurst and the families we serve. Can you please stand up and join us?
And this right here, this is what community looks like, and this is what it takes to change lives. Thank you all. You may be seated.
This afternoon, we invite you to join us in this work. Last year alone, and you've heard these numbers, but I'm going to put them in your ears one more time because they're really important. Maryhurst served youth from 53 different counties. We supported 473 children and families through our Maryhurst renewal work, and we reached nearly 2,000 community members through the Community Mental Health Project, which is a partnership with the city of Louisville. And these are not just numbers, these are real people. These are real family, and these are real lives and futures being built and rebuilt in real time.
And while the need continues to grow, so does the opportunity to make a difference earlier before trauma becomes crisis. That is why your support really matters, not just for today, but for what becomes possible, and every gift really matters. Whether you help provide immediate care for a young person arriving at Maryhurst, support independent living skills, or strengthen families through community-based programs, your investment helps create stronger futures.
And to help put that impact in perspective, here are just a few examples of what your support can make possible. What you give translates into what we are able to give. And a gift of $60 provides a welcome kit for a young person walking through our doors. often carrying little more with just the belongings that they came with.
And $120 helps support independent living skills, giving young women the tools and confidence needed to prepare for a life beyond Maryhurst.
$300 can help provide critical mental health and therapeutic support for a young person working through trauma and on their healing journey.
And $600 helps provide a month of renewal services for a child and family, bringing support directly into homes, schools, and communities before a crisis escalates. Every one of these investments help create something stronger: more stability, more safety, more healing, and more opportunity. And for many children and families, a future once felt very out of reach. I invite you to join me as a donor of Maryhurst.
So, how are we going to do it? There are several different ways you can support our work today. You'll find a donation card on your table if you'd like to make a gift that way. You can also scan the QR code. It's right up here. It's on your table in like a dozen different places. You can text to give using that number. And as you exit, if you want to hand your card or need assistance with making a donation, we're going to have volunteers in blue lanyards at the very back. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the part I try and make really, really, really easy for y'all. Oh, what?
Oh, sorry.
Yep. But before we close, I want to give you and leave you with a final thought. On your tables, you'll find wooden blocks. They're different shapes, they're different sizes, and they represent something simple but very important. Strong foundations that are built piece by piece. They're built by us, person by person, relationship by relationship, and community by community.
Slacking on my job there,
Oh,
sorry.
I know. But we invite you to take one of those blocks with you today as a reminder that the work of building those foundations, it does not end when we walk out these doors. And while today reflects an important foundation, we can tell you there's so much more ahead. We have more opportunities, we have more impact, we have more ways for this community, the people right here in this room and outside of it, to help shape what comes next for Maryhurst and the families that we serve. Because today is just the beginning.
And the strongest foundations are the ones built together. And what you are helping build today will continue impacting lives of generations to come. Thank you for helping build strong futures and for children and families across Kentucky. We will give you a few moments now to consider how you might be able to help and be a part of this very important work. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.